What's up, guys? Today I want to devote a little bit of time to talking about the NASCAR Heat 3 online multiplayer, which I rarely put any time into, and that's because I'm not as into really online multiplayer as I am with the offline stuff. And there are several reasons for that, which I've gone through several times before, but I'll touch on those things a little bit more now. But I feel like if I really wanted to, I could do a prediction video today. I think I've seen enough stuff that I got a pretty good idea of what this game's going to be like. But I am going to hold off for at least another week because uh, 704 hasn't really talked a lot about online, and most of their focus has been offline, which is great. That's what I want. But they're obviously going to get into some detail about the online before they release the game, I would think. And I could foresee that happening soon, maybe in a week. They're really cutting it close because the game is going to be out in just almost 3 weeks. So there isn't a lot of time, but I do expect them to talk about it a little bit. At least give us some extra detail. So far, all we really know is that there is supposed to be some esports online tournament. I really don't understand what that is, what it consists of, how does it work. Um, Anything they can do, like as far as options or adding stuff, is going to be a plus. You know, let's be honest. The problem with online multiplayer is I don't believe it's ever going to really work for most people. That's because the biggest problem with online multiplayer is people. You know, it's not the developer. It's not what they, that playground that they give you, which is the tracks and the cars, and it just there isn't a lot there to stop people from ruining the race experience for other people. Some people just get off on it. They just like trolling. Excuse me. Uh, but other people, they might come in with good intentions, but once people start wrecking them, then they start wrecking everybody. It's a domino effect. And, that's the biggest truth about online racing. It's the community. It's the people that are actually the players. They're the ones that really ruin it, because if you really did have a lobby full of people with the right intentions who really want to race, you can organize a somewhat decent race. Yeah, you can pick apart a lot of the technical problems with the game, but at the end of the day, I really believe that 704 has done a commendable job with the fact that you can literally run 40 cars in one race. That's amazing. I honestly never thought we'd ever reach a point where you can do that, at least anytime soon. But it's for the most part works, and it runs pretty decent. The only time I've seen, issues are with a little bit of lag, and that has to do with maybe somebody's connection, stuff like that, which is almost unavoidable. But for the most part, you can run a full lobby of 40 cars and run a full race if you want to. The problem is people don't seem to want to do that, and even when they do, it's just a wreck fest. What is the solution for that? I'm not sure I have solutions. I've had ideas that I've brought up, but I'll be honest with you. When I'm really sure about an idea, I'm pretty vocal about it. Other things, I'm kind of like, you know what, you could try this, you could try that, and, I think it would help, but I'm not really sure. I thought that adding AI, which is, I still am a proponent for that, to the online racing would help. It would help create a buffer between you and other drivers, and it kind of helps organize the race itself. The problem is that the AI online is nowhere near as stable as the offline. It's very unstable. They almost seem to be over aggressive. Uh, there are issues there, and that needs a lot of work. Now, I'm not 100% sure, but I don't think they were able to work on the online AI. I My memory's not the best, but I do remember somewhere at some point, I think somebody did say, oh, I don't know if this is a direct quote from Sean Wilson or someone at 704, but I don't think they really were able to do any work to the online AI, which is a shame because if they can get it to where it's stable, I think that would help create a buffer. Now the online AI, I'm not as I don't think it needs to be as competitive as the offline. The offline has to be competitive because those are your opponents. Online, you're racing other people, other players, and the AI should serve more as a buffer. In order to do that properly, though, they have to run more stable. So work needs to be done. And I wouldn't mind if it was actually more challenging. So I'm not against it. I'm just saying that it's not as vital as the offline. But nobody's you go into these lobbies and nobody's running with AI. Nobody runs long races. Everything's 2%, 4%. To me, it's just quick sprints of people wrecking each other. And I don't understand how people could do that all day long. There are times where I'll go online for a little bit just to give it a try, and I'm immediately reminded why I hate online racing so much. It's a fucking mess. And it's a shame because most of it is not 704's fault. They gave us a playground. They gave you the ability to run full lobbies. But there are improvements that can be made. So, we'll talk a little bit about that. But for the most part, I'm not sure there's a magic solution. People want damage in online. And I suppose I would like to see that as well. But I'm not confident that would really stop people from wrecking people. I think people would even want to wreck people even more because they'll say, well, I can ruin a guy's race just by damaging his car, even if I never get into him again. And people just seem to be intent on trolling online. There's not much you can do. So, adding damage to online, yes, I'm for it. I'd like to see how that would work out. But like I said, I'm not confident there is a golden solution. So let's have some online damage. I'd like to see the ability to run leagues, like have a dedicated page where you can set up a schedule and run whatever many races you want, and have an organized schedule, including a chase and everything, and then you can run these races to the length you want, and then people would have to sign up, right? And once the host accepts you as a member, because of course I want the host of a league to have that ability to, if there's a guy he doesn't want in his league, you block him. But you allow people into the league, and once they log in, they're part of that league. And if they don't show up for a race, right, they just get a DNF. So it's okay. They don't show up, but you got a DNF, right? So you have an organized page with full stats, point systems, everything. And then have a cool trophy at the end. And you can run the schedule any way you want, any amount of races, any particular races you want, and fully customizable, right? Give people the ability to run multiple paint schemes, right? That's something that's also for offline. I'd like to see that as well, but where you have 2 or 3 different cars and each one has its own custom paint scheme that you came up with, And then for particular races, you can have specific schemes, right, online. So, just cool little things as options. Options are always good. So, have an organized league page. Very simple to set up. You have X amount of people, and then you can run AI or no AI if you want to. So you can have a league with only 5 or 6 guys if you want to, and fill out the rest of the field with AI. So you still have a point system, and it includes, you still have a 40-car field if you want to, and you don't have to have 40 online players. So that's kind of where I want things to go. Also, as an option only. I know a lot of people frown on this, but I've said it before. It wouldn't hurt to have an option to run an non-contact or ghost lobby for any particular race, where if you want to race people, but at the same time you don't want to have contact, so you don't have to worry about getting wrecked or trolled or anything like that. You can run. And yeah, it's not realistic, but so what? You're still racing other people. You kind of who can run a faster lap times. It comes down to how you race your car and stuff like that. So is it realistic? No, it's just an option. You don't have to do it, but options are good. And if you want to do it, I think you'd be surprised at it could still be fun, right? So just as an option, I would like to see the ability to have non-contact races or ghost races, just as an option. So every little bit helps. Running the organized league, having these options. I'm not sure what else can be done. Have the damage in online. I still think we're going to end up with a mess because people are not interested in racing clean. They're just not. And at times you even see the way people race even offline, and you could see that they treat the AI like an obstacle that's just kick them out of the way, right? So they're not being extra careful to stay out of when I race, I try my best to race as if I was in a real car. It gives you that just a little more difficulty in terms of competition, because it's easier to dominate if you're just plowing through the field and just ramming guys out of the way. And when people do that offline, could you imagine online? If they don't respect the AI, they're not going to respect people online. They're just going to roll over you. So, like I said, I don't have a solution, but I think with a couple of these options, and if you had the ability to run an organized league, that to me would be the biggest improvement. And then you can have guys come. And then if a guy's a problem, you can kick him out as the host. And just kick them out the league. This might incentivize people to run a little cleaner. Try to be a little more organized. I'm not sure there's a lot else I could come up with. I am curious to see how this esports tournament thing works. I'll give it a try. But I don't know. Also, one last thing. I always forget this, but there's no reason why you shouldn't have an open chat with all 40. I mean, other games you can talk to the whole lobby. If you go on Grand Theft Auto Online, you have entire lobbies of people, and everyone can talk to each other. And it's not as confusing as you would think. So, I just hate this thing where you have to have these limited party chats, and these are the only people you can talk to. It's very cumbersome. It just gets in the way. You just have an open audio on the communication with the whole lobby. Why can't you make that happen? So that's something that needs to happen. It sucks, when you can't talk to everyone. But that's really all I got, and I'm not confident any of these ideas would magically improve everything, but I think it's a start. I'm just excited that at least these guys are super focused on offline, because I'd be very happy if I never had to go online again. I could do without it. I'd like to try it, but I'm not confident that I'll ever be like online all the time. If you give me a good enough offline NASCAR game, I'll be happy. So that's all I got on that front, and let's see what happens with 704. I'm assuming that soon they'll probably release something where they just talk about online. I don't think they have a lot more surprises in store. I was surprised that this week they did announce that you could do burnouts and oh my god, what was the other thing? Oh, the 360 camera. So cool little features, nothing really mind blowing, but a lot of people really wanted this stuff, and now you got it. So these were pleasant surprises this week. I do not expect to keep getting more surprises like that, even with minor details like that. I don't know what else we can ask for this year. Yes, people want that caution replays. I want it too. The track map as an option, that'd be great. These are things we want, and we're not getting it this year. But you know what? I'm pretty sure that if together we continue to be constructive with our criticism and letting 704 know what we want, I am confident these guys will deliver. They've shown that they've done an amazing job. They really do listen to us. You're not always going to get that with everybody, but I think part of the reason that these guys do listen is because they are a small company, and it behooves them to pay attention to us and try to appease us, because they don't have a huge market for what they're selling. So it's in their best interest to listen and to keep communicating with us and to try to keep giving us what we want. You're not going to get that level of interaction with a larger company. A lot of these big time developers, yeah, they have more resources, they can do a lot of things, but at the same time, they don't have to listen to us because their profits are so much more and they have such a bigger market that they can afford to kind of ignore a lot of their consumers. Now, that doesn't mean the same type of criticism won't work. It will work. It just takes more people, and they got to be more vigilant. But in either case, my point is that I like 704's where they're going, and it's good, and they're listening, and I am pleasantly surprised at how much they are listening and how much they have been able to push forward with this series. And remember, I'm just taking a guess, but at most I could see maybe 8 months total of work. That's not a lot of time to work on a game. So they are ahead to me of the curve. They're ahead of the curve when it comes to development, just taking into account that it is a yearly title. So I am pleasantly surprised about everything, and I'm looking forward to see what they have to say about the online multiplayer, even though it's not my cup of tea. But I would love to be able to play online, and that it's better and a better experience. So that's all I have to say about that. I look forward to your comments, your opinions, and if you got any ideas for the online, something you think may help improve the experience for everybody. Maybe something that incentivizes people to run longer races. It's awful. All you see are these 2-4% sprints, wreckfests. That's what it is, and it's not the developer's fault. That's the community. It is what you make of it at the end. So that's all I got to say about that until we get more news. I look forward to your comments.